G'day and welcome to this International Student Life. We tell stories and our story is international student education. We're based in Melbourne, Australia, and we really appreciate you joining us for this first standalone episode of international student education in Melbourne, Australia. This is a very short introduction just to let you know that what's coming up in this episode. In this particular video, you'll hear a radio-style commentary over footage of Melbourne, Australia. We're taking a short walk down Flinders Lane to Flinders Street Station, and during this video, over the next 20 minutes, what I'll be going through for you is a compilation of an introduction to Melbourne Universities and open days for tertiary level education for international students in Melbourne, Australia. So we'll take a short break, enjoy the sights and sounds of Melbourne, Australia. We'll be right back. Welcome back to this International Student Life. This episode is produced by Wise Words Media and Calumny Films, and for the next 17 or 18 minutes, we're just going to run through all the different open days coming up during February 2022. Now that Australia's international borders are open, and it's been 2 years since international students and tourists and visitors, even family that have been locked out of Australia due to our strict border closures during COVID-19. We want to welcome you back to Melbourne, Australia, and boy, we can't wait to see you. So I hope you find some of this summary information in this episode helpful to you. And for each university we talk about in this episode, there'll be a separate episode about every university, the dates, the events for international students, because you are our audience, and we want to help you settle into life in Melbourne and begin your international student experience here in Australia. So we'll be going through them in alphabetical order. The first university, and these are all based in Melbourne. We'll only be presenting information about Melbourne based universities and universities only. At this point, we won't be giving you any information about TAFE institutions and colleges. We're hoping to add these later, but for the moment, let's get into it. The first university is the Australia Catholic University. Their open day is coming up. All of these universities, their open days basically during the month of February 2022. And the Australian Catholic University, their open day is running from the 22nd of February 2022, that's Tuesday the 22nd of February 2022 to the 24th of February. Now we're only listing the dates, not the times at the moment. We just want to give you a feel for the type of information you can expect during this episode, and as this channel evolves, and you'll be able to find specific episodes relating to the university you're enrolled in or the university of your choice. We also consider our audience to be international recruitment agents based overseas, as well as parents. We hope that you find this, as well as your kids, a very useful resource. We'll move on to the next university based in Melbourne, CQUniversity, which is the Central Queensland University. They have course offerings here in Melbourne and in Victoria. They have a single open day on the 3rd of March, Thursday the 3rd of March 2022. As we're moving down Flinders Lane, you can see the camera moving in a westerly direction towards Swanston Street, towards Elizabeth Street. We'll finish up at Flinders Street Station and cross over the Yarra River. Deakin University is the next university for international students. They have quite a few days during orientation week for international students. Deakin University, it runs from Monday the 28th of February 2022 through the 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Friday the 4th of March is the final open day, orientation day, I should say. These are all orientation days. Later on during 2022, we will be putting out similar episodes around open days for those who are interested in attending open days. If you're an international student, you might be completing Year 11 or Year 12, coming from overseas to one of our secondary schools here in Melbourne. Many international students attend secondary school in Melbourne. You might be looking for open days to help you work out where you want to continue your educational journey. The next university is Federation University. There's just a single day, Monday the 21st of February. That's a single day at Federation University for international students, your orientation to get you started. And keep in mind that a lot of our universities here in Australia are still finding their feet after some really challenging and trying times during the last 2 years with COVID. So a lot of these universities are running jointly orientation weeks in person on campus and also online. Now a good example of this is our next institution, LaTrobe University, based in the northern suburbs of Melbourne, and they are one of these universities along with RMIT that are running online orientation sessions as well as in person on campus. So if you're enrolled at LaTrobe University, you've accepted an offer there to study at LaTrobe University, their orientation week activities run for international students. Mind you, this isn't for all students, our information in this episode, but Tuesday the 22nd of February and also Wednesday the 23rd of February. And there's also activities for all students, and as a example of how COVID is affecting universities we're just getting back into face-to-face learning and activities. Monash, LaTrobe University also has for all students some activities on one of their sports ovals with COVID marshals in attendance. But any further details about any details that you wish to find out, in all circumstances we urge you to check the university website for all information. Wise Words Media and Calumny Films, we can't accept any responsibility for any errors or omission of information. With all this information we've compiled based off sources available in the public domain, and we're just one avenue we'd like you to consider as one resource. We're independent. We're not paid by any of the universities for presenting this information. The next university on our list, Monash University, is we're just moving halfway. We're halfway through our episode there. You can see the camera moving towards Swanston Street. On the right-hand side of the screen is the Westin, an upmarket hotel in Melbourne, where some students, no doubt in the hospitality sector, are getting vital work experience during their studies or applying their trade after graduation. The camera will keep moving west. This is the main thoroughfare of Melbourne. The church on the left is St Paul's Cathedral, a really good landmark to help you orientate yourself if you're a first-time arrival, and if you're trying to get used to how to get around Melbourne. In front of us, the camera's showing Swanston Street, and it's this street which basically our entire tram network is based around. And if you get on any of the trams travelling to the right of the screen, that'll take you up towards RMIT and Melbourne University. To the left goes out over the Yarra River and takes you out towards any of the tram lines that carry you out into the suburbs. But as we know, most international students prefer to live on campus or close to it. So while the camera continues down Flinders Lane towards Elizabeth Street, and eventually it will take a left towards Flinders Street Station. And if you've got any feedback about this episode, that you find it useful, or you find the radio style, the way the information is presented, let us know. We're really keen to hear your feedback. And also how you find the conversational aspect of the audio in this episode. We know that for many Asian students, English as a second language is a huge challenge to overcome, and in a future episode we'll be profiling a Chinese student who had a lot of trouble with her confidence, created a lot of anxiety, and that's such a common topic of a hurdle that many international students from any country, not just Asia, have to overcome to succeed in their studies. So please give us your feedback in the comments below, anything that we can do to improve these episodes, bearing in mind that we've just launched, but we really see this as a valuable resource and a tool over the coming months. We'll see how it plays out, but we do want to make sure that our audience is well served by this information. So the combination of the footage and the separate radio style commentary over the top about different universities and different topics, we hope that you're finding it useful. So we've just passed to Graves Lane, a very famous spot for tourists and visitors. Going back to our list, Monash University next on the list, and for international students, and Monash University has two particular activities that we've been able to find and we can present to you. Monash University on the 15th of February, and this actually is where we got the idea for this episode from, that the Melbourne City Laneway Tour Discover Melbourne event series for international students only from Monash University. Between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock on Tuesday the 15th of February. So that's actually in 2 days' time, which we hope to have this episode up today for you. But we really recommend you, if you are enrolled at Monash and you're new to Melbourne, or even if you've been here for a while and you want to get back into more social, face-to-face activities, why not join Monash University's Melbourne City Laneway Tour Discover Melbourne event series. All details, as I said, please check the Monash University website and the international student pages. With all the information will be there. Now, a second event for students that we can tell you about from Monash University 2 days later, on Thursday the 17th of February 2022, starting at 10 o'clock, and both of these activities are starting at Flinders Street Station, which will appear in the end of this episode. If you've never been to Melbourne, or if you've been here and you were studying here before COVID and you suddenly had to go home and you just need something to help you get familiar with Melbourne again, why not take the Melbourne University Royal Botanical Gardens tour walk? These are hosted walks, mind you. You won't just be wandering aimlessly around the laneways or through the Royal Botanical Gardens with people that also have students from overseas. No, these are hosted tours by a local expert, not us, of course. But highly recommended. Definitely consider taking these. They're free, of course. Check all details on the Monash University website, the international student pages, for further details, because you do have to register. There are further details about Monash University's Orientation Week for international students that'll be presented in a separate episode over the coming couple of weeks. There'll be many new episodes coming up on our channel, so please make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell for more videos, because that way you guarantee that you won't miss out on new episodes, and we will be catering to specific universities. So you won't have to worry about trying to work out which episode has information specific to your university. We'll be putting up separate episodes. Coming up next, we'll keep on keeping on. RMIT University. If you're a student attending, you're enrolled in a course at RMIT University, their open days for international students are starting tomorrow, the 14th of February 2022. There is a welcome day at the RMIT City Campus between the hours of 9:30 and 10:30. Don't worry if you think this episode's light on for details. We'll have a separate episode for each university coming up soon. The main idea of this episode is just to give you a brief introduction to all universities in Melbourne. So those details for RMIT, again, starting tomorrow, and also on Thursday, the 3rd of March for international students, and another one on Tuesday, the 15th of March, the 15th of February, I beg your pardon. But the event on the 3rd of March is an all-day event starting at 10:30, running until 3:30 in the afternoon. But again, please check the university website for details. We can't accept any responsibility for errors or omission of information. Now, the next one on our list is Swinburne University, out in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, on the Belgrave and Lilydale line. Actually, a short story, as the camera's now in Flinders Street and we're making our way along the tram stop on the western side of Elizabeth Street. We're just making our way back to the entrance of Flinders Street station, and shortly you'll see the camera disappearing, taking you through the subway at the western end of Flinders Street station platforms, and it'll come out on the Yarra River. But I did actually, in the last couple of months, I was asked on a train by a young Chinese lady who didn't know where she was going on the train as it travelled east into the suburbs towards Box Hill, where she was living, working in the city, and she was catching an Uber every day from Box Hill to the city because she didn't know that she could get a train at a very cost-effective ticket price into and out of the city each day. So if you're a student, you certainly don't want to be wasting money every day on an Uber or a taxi because you're running late, or because you're not organised, or because your Google Maps are confusing. Make sure that you get familiar using these orientation weeks at every university. There's an international student support team at each university. They'll only be too happy to help you. In fact, they are paid. They're paid to help you settle into life in Melbourne and support you through your journey as you complete your studies and acclimatise to Melbourne. So please make sure that you use those resources. Don't be afraid. Get over your anxieties. There's plenty of help around, and that's why this channel exists. We want to help you settle into Melbourne and provide just a little bit of extra help and resources as you study in Melbourne. Swinburne University, their orientation weeks, the days, there's a single day that we've found, but again, check their website if you're not sure. In fact, we recommend it to make sure that you verify this information. Check the Swinburne University international student web pages. Monday the 21st of February from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and a second session for international students from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Make sure that you attend. And it's worth noting actually that some of these orientation sessions, we've noticed that it is compulsory. You must attend as part of your enrolment activities. You must attend these orientation sessions. Why? We'll have another episode explaining why that's the case. So as the video is now winding down, we're just nearly finishing here with the video. We're at the Yarra River, finishing our walk through Melbourne. The University of Melbourne, their orientation activities are on Monday the 21st of February, Tuesday the 22nd and Wednesday the 23rd.
Yeah, science. Science and nice. You got what you wanted.
And finally, Victoria University, which we have a lot of experience with this institution. Victoria University, their orientation activities are out at Footscray Park campus for their international students on Wednesday, we'll just double check this, Wednesday the 16th of February, 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And the second session, we'll just get that up now, the following day, Thursday the 17th of February. That's actually this coming week. If you're in Melbourne, and you should be by now if you're a Vic Uni student enrolled in their program, that session is also the identical time, Thursday the 17th of February from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock. So that's all we have for you now in this episode. We've somehow managed to fit all the information in. The other thing I would like to say and just remind you is that this channel is, we are based in Melbourne, Australia. We have, Wise Words Media has a lot of experience in international student education, creating marketing, video and audio content for international students. We also have a lot of experience settling people from overseas into life in Melbourne since 1979. We love showing off Melbourne, and we love helping people get familiar with everything this city has to offer. So make sure that you make the fullest of everything life in Melbourne has to offer through your university. Your international student support team has many activities throughout the year, not just orientation week. There's many things to take advantage of, many clubs and societies. And if you're a student whose language, English, is a second language, don't stop yourself and be anxious about joining in. Get involved, practice your English, find conversation clubs, and we'll wrap it up there. You've been listening to This International Student Life. We're based in Melbourne, Australia, and we want to thank you for joining us in this episode. And make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell. You don't have to pay anything. It's free to listen, free to watch, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. contains nil paid promotion. All international student information is compiled from sources available in the public domain. For further information, visit your university website, international student offices, or an international education recruitment agent in your country. This International Student Life is produced by Wise Words Media and Calamity Films. We accept no responsibility for any errors or omission of information in this video.